Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Holiday, and today we're doing something a little bit different. You see, I constantly get these questions asked of, like, how do I make my YouTube videos? What kind of equipment do I use? What types of programs? What's the basic setup and format? And I love getting these questions. I love talking about gear. I love talking about the process. But I figured that I would streamline a lot of this, and I would show you how I do what I do and give you like a basic rundown. And this is done for two reasons. Number one, if you've never done YouTube, then this might give you a good jumping off point. I don't suggest you absolutely invest a shit ton of money into it like I have at this point, but this can give you like some ideas of where to go, maybe some helpful tips on how to get started. If you're already doing YouTube, maybe this is something that you can use as a comparison for what you're already doing, and that might be able to help you change and build and grow. And number two, if you have found a better way to do some of the things that I'm doing in this, by all means tell me, because I am no expert. I've just gotten really, really good at doing what I do with what I have at hand. So I'm basically just going to take you through the process of what I do after I've already figured out what I want to talk about. Not most of the time I don't write a script or anything like that. I just have it in mind. I do my research. If I need to, I might type out some bullet points that I want to make sure I remember while I'm talking about it. And then I'll show you my setup and how we do it. So let's get started. First, let's go to the garage for when I do full like studio-ish things with a green screen. So we're here in my garage, and this is where I do some of my filming. Let's see if I can get a nice wide shot. So you can see in the back there, it's gonna look a little screwed up because I got open door to the backyard. But I have this wall that I made with green poster board. And you can see, like, there are parts where it's kind of like separating out. The problem that I had with it was that I did not put a flat board behind it. Instead, I just put cross beams and stapled it onto place. But when you see the green screen effects on my videos, this is actually what I'm using. Yeah, I got all sorts of random crap in here. Archery stuff. Need some nerdy, old school comic books. Of course, a Kraken bench. But yeah, so this is like the basic setup that I have for it. The garage is extremely messy. Extremely messy. And you can see like all this kind of crap. There's our Christmas tree. Weight machine back there. Now, usually it's not this messy, but over the winter time I stopped paying attention. I stopped keeping it clutter-free, so it's starting to warm up, and I'll probably like re-spruce this up. And I have some ideas for things that I want to be doing with mobile set pieces and that kind of stuff. But, so, how I usually have this set up is I got these two big photography lights. They're obviously not angled how they need to be, but and these are not that expensive. These are, you see the brightness factor. These are not that expensive. It's just like a basic lighting kit from Amazon. And you can get different bulbs if you want different types of colors. These are a little bit blue for my taste, but for now I haven't really been worrying about it. I like post-process, you know, a different white balance afterwards. I should probably do it with my cameras, but yeah. I'm going to get this set up just a little bit more, and then I'll walk you through what my equipment is and how I have it set up. So, I have everything pretty much set up, and this is basically what I'm looking at when I'm recording the video. However, the difference is, as you can see right here, once it adjusts, the camera will actually have it split open and these turned around so I can see what I look like. Sometimes the lights are pushed behind it, sometimes the lights are in front. Right now, there's just a bunch of crap all over the back, so I'm gonna have to move that before I actually start filming. But I want to show you some of the gear that I'm working with here. So, I have two cameras that I use regularly. This one and this big bad Mama Jama here. I'll show you better in just a second. I gotta pull this thing out of the way. Alright, so let's start with Little Brother. I call this guy Little Brother. He's just a basic Panasonic HCV270, and he records in basic 1080p at 60 frames a second. And it's just a good little camera. I got this refurbished on eBay for just a little bit over 200 bucks. And the image quality on it is honestly perfectly fine. Very suitable for making YouTube videos. Battery life's pretty good. And obviously it's just an SD card underneath for storage. And then big sister is this puppy right here, the HCWX970. It's a 4K camera. I've never actually recorded in 4K. But she's a beauty. She's a really nice camera. And this one has even more crisp of an image, but I also keep it at a 1080p as well. They're both Panasonics, this one and that one, which I was hoping would kind of make it so their image quality would be at least somewhat similar, especially when they would match white balance under similar light conditions. Because I'm not manually dialing in my white balance, which I probably should, but I have not yet. This one was about, I think like 600 bucks refurbished on eBay, and it works great. It's fantastic. I got this really cheap for like $30, this Takstar SGC 598, and it's just a shotgun condenser mic. It plugs in right here. Now, some people have asked me, and you gotta just turn it on. Boop. Are you out of batteries? Shit. Is that a juice? You have to replace, wait. Oh, I didn't even turn on. Ha ha! Anyway, so quite a few people have asked me if this is good enough for video making. Yes and no. It will replace the basic audio coming through up here. And but the thing is, it picks up, oh, there goes my heater. It picks up a lot of background noise, and I mean a ton of background noise. So you have to do a lot of post-processing later to fix your sound. So I don't use it as my main audio source. Instead, but if you're just getting into doing YouTube videos, I mean, you could honestly probably just use the damn microphone on this thing. I'm going to show you a comparison of what they all sound like later on in this video. But for my main audio that I do, when I'm doing anything that needs to sound really good and I'm away from my desk and my Blue Yeti, I use this thing. This is a Tascam D70 audio recorder, and it's 4-channel. I got 3 over here, one that you can't see over there, and it's got its own microphones in the front, and they're really good, but they're not exactly what I wanted for when I'm doing stand-up things. For stand-up, like, you know, stage settings like this, I use this really cheapy Audio-Technica. It's got a little battery pack right there, lapel mic, and it records it really quiet, so I have to boost it up. But by boosting it up, the quality is still usually really, really good. I just gotta make sure I use noise reduction on it to make sure that it doesn't sound too artificially amplified. But yeah, so that's usually like my basic setup that I do when I'm doing this type of thing. I'll usually get a really good color out of both these cameras against this wall, and it's really easy to chroma key everything out. So yeah, I guess, let me see if I can do it this way. I'm recording all this on my phone too, which might actually have a really super good picture. But that's the basic idea of how I'm doing these types of videos when I'm out here in my garage. I will next do a comparison, because I'm about to shoot a video of the different microphone setups and the different image qualities between the two. So this is the basic test of these two cameras. We have this one here is the possible 4K Big Sister. This one here is Little Brother, the basic 1080 camera. Now they're in different places, so obviously there's more shadows going to be showing up on here because this is more of a side cam. If I'm bringing it over to about here, you'll see a little bit of a difference. Now the difference in color of my skin is honestly just due to the white balance settings on these cameras, because they did not sync up exactly. they don't necessarily register the same shade of green and attribute it accordingly, so usually I have to modify it a little bit. But now for the audio channels, because it sounds a little weird, you're picking up a lot of background stuff, right? Well, over here I'm talking to little brother's microphone, and you can hear the audio quality of the smaller camera. And so now this is the audio that's being picked up by Big Sister with the onboard microphone. You can tell it sounds a little bit better, but you could probably hear maybe the wind rustling outside. You can definitely hear the heater over there. Any kind of ambient noise is going to be picked up really, really well. Now, while I'm talking about this, there's a lot of background sound going on because I'm using the Tacstar shotgun mic attached to Big Sister, and so that's what that sounds like. So now this is me being recorded by the Tascam D70 on the lapel mic, this Audio-Technica lapel mic. And it sounds pretty good now, but the reason it sounds pretty good is because it's been mastered. And I'm going to show you how I mastered as well in just a minute, but for just a reference, this is what it sounds like completely raw and unfiltered. Can you hear me very well? Probably not. Anyway, yeah, that's how I make my videos in my garage. Hopefully this gives you some ideas for doing any kind of setup like this. We'll move on to the next little bit of how I do my YouTubes. Alright, so against my better judgment, I'm gonna actually show you guys my desk. Now, I like to keep a pretty clean house and everything like that, but I'm really messy at my desk because I'm usually too busy working. But here you go. Oh, by the way, that's my framed Jeff Goldblum right above my workstation. Anyway, so this is my desk, and it is a mess. It's absolutely a mess, because I'm usually too busy working. Now, what I got going on, you can see me right here. Hello! Oh, hello. Anyway, so I've got these two screens. I'm watching Vernaculus currently on the Reuben Report. These two screens are attached to my video gaming box, but it's also where I do a lot of my recording, and if I have to do any rendering for CGI effects, which is rare, which I should probably do more of. These two are hooked up to an older computer where I actually build all of my videos together, and I should really probably upgrade this. These are old ass monitors too, but I mean, it does the trick. If I'm making a 20-minute video, it takes about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes to render. That's not that big of a deal. It's not like I'm making, you know, bajillion videos every day. But what I got going on for gear, if I pull out a little bit, you can see this right here is the Blue Yeti on a boom mic stand that I've been working with right now. I don't have one of those scissor arms that a lot of people do. The current webcam, the webcam that I've used for desk videos previously was this one, and it's a Logitech C920. And then I recently just got this one in, and it's a C922X. I think it's the X of the E, something like that. And honestly, like, the video quality on it, it's pretty comparable. It's honestly pretty comparable. It adds for like 60 frames per second at 720. So I mean, it's good. It looks good, but I don't know if it's really necessarily worth the price. If you wanted to get a 920, they're pretty cheap on Amazon right now, and they are very, very, very affordable. And then obviously the Yeti. The Yeti is kind of pricey a little bit for a desktop USB microphone, but the main, that's my little skull thing. I really like this as a stand for my webcam because I can see through it if I'm monitoring stuff on this. Like when I'm live streaming, I'll have the chat on here. I'll have whoever I'm talking to here, and I'll have my OBS or my live stream monitoring thing over here. It's pretty handy. But the reason why getting something like a Yeti is a pretty good idea is because you can have crap video, but if you have crap sound, it is harder for people to watch than if you have crap video. Your sound is probably one of the most important things that you could probably invest in. So yeah, that's what it's like when I'm making videos at my desk. Alright, so what we have right here is the audio file that I recorded with the Tascam audio recorder open in Audacity. And I wanted to show this to you because I wanted to show you how I do my audio mastering. Now, if you listen really, really closely, it sounds a little bit probably hear maybe the wind rustling outside. You definitely hear the heater over there. Any kind of ambient noise is going. Right. So you can hear that it's really, really quiet. It's only coming through one channel. This is just how the Tascam records for some reason. The the lapel mics only record to one channel, but it's recording two channels, so one of them is dead at the moment. So it's really, really simple. Audacity, by the way, is a totally free program, and it's wonderful, especially if you're just doing basic YouTube stuff. Doesn't matter that much. You split this to mono, you kill that track, and it's done. Now, obviously, you don't want this to only come in through one person's ear, and I will tell you right now, when you try and master video files and you do have some mono tracks and some stereo tracks, sometimes it screws up. So I just like to go edit, duplicate. So we got two. Click on this, make stereo track. So now we have them at 2 tracks, identical right and left ear. So what we're going to want to do next is we look through here, we look for any spikes, maybe any coughs or bumps on the mic. This one's pretty good. But if you were to have one right here, say it was a spike that's really loud, you'd want to select it, effect, amplify, and reduce the whole thing. But so far, this one's pretty clean. Don't need to do a whole lot of changes. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the whole thing just by clicking on the basic bar right here. We're going to amplify. It'll always try and amplify it as loud as it possibly can. Bam. So now this is me being recorded by the Tascam D70 on the lapel mic, this Audio-Technica. Much better. Much, much, much better. But there's some ambient background noise. So let's listen to some dead space here. A few clicks. Me breathing. Right about here is probably a good dead space. Okay. And so the reason why I'm trying to find that is what we need to do is we need to get a profile for the noise floor. And what we do is we select it, and go to noise reduction, get noise profile. Then I use Control A, or you can go to edit, select all, go back to noise reduction, hit OK. Boom, 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 boom. And now suddenly, nothing. Anyway, yeah, that's how I make my videos in my garage. Hopefully this gives you some ideas for doing any kind of setup like this. We'll move. Now, keep in mind, I don't really know if this is the proper terminology for it. Like, is it audio mastering? Is that what it is? I don't know. But that's just like the terminology that I've been using. Again, I'm not a professional in doing this kind of stuff. But then we can just go ahead and export this, and we're good to move on to our next bit. Alright, so just to show you guys a couple of examples of some of the editing stuff that I end up doing when I'm making these videos. First, I'm going to show you how I pair up the audio with what we just did with mastering, quote-unquote, if that's even the right term, mastering the audio. So here I have the little bit of video that was also recorded along with that file from the Tascam, from the audio recorder. So I'm going to go ahead and drag the Tascam down here. And as you can see, you know, a lot of times it'll show up, but it doesn't show the waveform. Drag it down, shows the waveform. Now, if we listen to it... So now this is me being recorded by the Tascam... Yep, nope, it's not synced. So, what we gotta do is we zoom in. So, by the way, what I'm using is Adobe Premiere... Which version is this? Adobe Premiere Pro CC... version 9, and I've been using it for a while. Now, I know most people probably don't really want to spend the money to get Adobe. There are a lot cheaper programs out there that will do just as good. Well, I don't know about just as good. This is just what I've learned on. I wanted to learn the most complicated one I could just to make the best videos that I could, and it is pretty damn complex. But you could get away with doing something with... You could even make fantastic videos with just Movie Maker if you needed to. But there are other options out there. I've used Power Director, I've used Sony Vegas. They were all reasonably good. But let's listen to this. So now this is me being recorded by the Tascam D70 on... That's close enough. That's absolutely close enough. Anything that's like in microseconds, it doesn't really matter. Not really. So let's kill all this. We'll drag this audio track over to here. And so now this is the audio that comes... And so now this is the audio that's being picked up by Big Sister with the onboard microphone. You can tell it... Yep. So obviously we're not going to use some of that. We need to use like the native native audio from some of that at some point. So I'm actually going to go ahead and back that up. But I have this all set and done for when I plug it into the rest of the video. Next, I'm going to show you one more thing on Premiere, and then we're going to call it good. Alright, so just a basic note on how I do like the editing on my videos. Some people have noticed that I use two cameras a lot, and there's a reason for that. It's because I find jump cuts to be obnoxious, or at least I like to call it the Onision effect, when you just use nothing but jump cuts to try and remove all the uhs and the ums. So if we watch this is right now we have one camera on video track 2, one camera on video track 1. If I turn that one off, you can see these two. And you can see the difference in the color of the two cameras really well doing that. But listen to this. Up exactly. They don't necessarily... So in that, we're talking about the green screen because they did not sync up exactly. Now I would want to take out the If this is a standard video, I'd take out the Now watch what happens. If I mark this in, and I mark that out, this is the Onision cut. Exactly. They don't necessarily register the same up exactly. They don't necessarily register the same shade of green. And then let's make another cut right here. So this is basically what it would look like without changing the camera. Sync up exactly. They don't necessarily register the same shade of green, but if I click the one underneath it, I change the camera, it turns into this. Because they did not sync up exactly. They don't necessarily register the same shade of green and attribute it accordingly. See, those are still really rough cuts. They're still really, really, really rough, and I probably wouldn't even keep that in an actual video that I was making. But this is mostly to illustrate one of the things that I try to do because it makes the video seem to flow a little bit more organically. That's why I absolutely believe in at least having two cameras. If you're doing static shot videos, it's invaluable. So that was one of the other ones I wanted to do. If there's enough interest and people are curious how I get some of this green screen stuff working as well as I do, I could make a video about that, but there are already so many tutorials about that on the internet, you know, just yeah. So I don't know, it depends. If there's any kind of questions that you have on how I work Premiere and some of the techniques that I use, feel free to ask in the comments section. I'll try and help out as much as I can. If this part of the video looks a little weird, it's because I'm having to capture from two different monitors, and so that's why it looks all funky. Alright, so there you have it. That's the basic functionality of like how I make my YouTube videos, especially if I'm doing anything in the garage. Obviously, if I'm doing anything in the desk, you saw like how my desk setup is done. If I'm doing something in, say, the office back there or outside, I'm usually just taking my cameras with some tripods and that sort of thing. But again, I want to make sure that you understand that you don't have to have really expensive equipment to do it. The first thing that you're probably going to want to do if you want to upgrade your gear, get good sound. Good sound. Sound is more important than video unless you're specifically doing going out and doing things, etc., etc. And I do have that really expensive 4K camera, really expensive-ish, you know. But the 1080 one is perfectly serviceable, and it was really cheap, refurbished on eBay, you know. And I started out doing YouTube videos with just my webcam, and then I got this old GoPro Hero 3, and then somebody gifted me this old Lumix bridge cam. It's not actually like a full DSLR, and that's how some of my older videos were done. You know, it's just whatever gear you can scrounge together, and you make improvements as you feel like you can. If you'd like some more tips on like the basic functionality of doing YouTube as a process and trying to get down good pacing and that sort of thing, I made a video on it on my second channel, which I will have a link in the description below. It's a little bit more lengthy, more wordy, but it's got some ideas on how to have your pacing really good, how to network, that sort of thing. And if you guys are interested in other aspects of doing YouTube, please, by all means, ask questions, get a hold of me, because honestly, anybody can do YouTube. Anybody can. Not everybody's going to be able to make it like big, but anybody can at least get their ideas across. They can put themselves out there into the digital landscape, make friends, share ideas, and everybody should. Everybody should. If you feel passionate about it, I think you should do it. But anyway, hopefully this helped somebody, or at least you found it interesting, or you get to peer a little bit into my messy desk and erratic lifestyle, whatever. But I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Let me know if you want more of this kind of like different stuff or whatever. More videos coming soon. Love you guys. Have a great one. Bye.